Thank you for watching BlaXit. Please subscribe to our channel BlaXit, smash that like button and share everywhere.
So, BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. How are you today? I hope everybody's great. If you're new to BlaXit and you've never been on our channel before, BlaXit is the channel that's dedicated to your homecoming, your return back to the motherland, your return back to Africa. And today I'm your host, I'm Yanjo Kajabi, and we are part of the BlaXit family. We are BlaXit basically. And BlaXit was coined out of Brexit, if you like, which is all about your exit from the West back to the best, that's Africa. In Brexit, they wanted to get out of Europe, and we wanted to get out of Europe too. But we wanted to come home to Africa. Now, today I have two very special guests with me, who are trailblazing, I would say. And they have just returned back to the States from their trip to the Gambia. But what I will say is that they have left an indelible mark here in Gambia in their trip. And so I want them to introduce themselves, obviously, to you, BlaXit family, as we do traditionally. And then we'll go into why they are such a super special couple and what they were doing here in the Gambia, okay? I'd like to welcome, here we go, Tani and Elon Sylvester to BlaXit. Welcome and thanks for coming on. How are you both?
We're doing great. Really, really good.
It's great to see you again. It's absolutely great to see you again. One of the things that I would like to discuss with you is how you've been coping since leaving Gambia. And please tell people who you are, so everybody knows who Elon is and who Tani is. So share with BlaXit family who you are and why you first came to the Gambia.
Yes, certainly. Well, I'm Reverend Elon Sylvester, and I pastor the Westbury United Methodist Church in Westbury, Long Island, New York. This is my lovely wife, Tani, and she also is First Lady of the church. We involved in ministry together, and part of our visit to the Gambia was us exploring different facets and areas of ministry. The reason why we came to Gambia basically is because we have been thinking about moving to a warmer climate and get away from the cold of New York and to probably explore some different opportunities elsewhere. Being a United Methodist pastor, we are itinerant. It means that from time to time we can get appointments in different parts of the country or probably even in different parts of the world. So we were thinking about moving to the southern part of the United States where it's warmer, and we had focused in on Florida. Well, in the process of exploring and researching Florida and what is required for the move and all of that, we sort of started stumbling on all of this material about moving back to Africa. And this was a thought that was always in my mind and I guess in my heart. And I never saw the possibility of being able to do something like this. To move to Africa? What are you, crazy? Nevertheless, I started pursuing more and more, looking at the videos, and this lady who calls herself Nyancho Kanchobi and BlaXit and stuff started popping up, and I became very interested in all of the videos that I've been seeing. And I was so impressed by all of the activity that was taking place and all of the analysis that was being put forward, showing how it's so possible to be able to migrate back to the continent and what a difference that we could make, in so many ways, that I started really thinking seriously, this might be possible. Anyhow, I threw it by my wife and she was, of course.
And I threw it back at him. because I was like, are you serious? Where are we going for what? But nevertheless, I usually always trust his judgment and his wisdom. And a lot of times when he's saying to me, let us do this, I kind of thought he's been staying up a lot of nights watching and listening and reading and understanding, researching. So I really thought it was the best thing for us to come, because I was kind of thinking maybe he's going through a midlife crisis. I need to support him as a wife right now. I'm like, Lord, help me, you know, what is he searching for, you know? But because I love him and I tell people, I said, it's my friend, you know, so whatever we're doing in life and ministry and business, we're going to do together. So obviously when he told us about the Gambia, I was like, okay, I'm going to go with you, because, you know, he doesn't want to discover anything by himself and then have to come back and leave the details out. I want to see the details. I want to be a part of it. So I trusted his judgment and came along and was pleasantly surprised and so happy.
Right, so we decided to come to the Gambia and explore what opportunities exist there, and just to be able to see firsthand what if all the things that they were saying were true, you know. And we just came down with an open mind and an open heart and willing to just explore whatever opportunities there might be, and to really analyze. And of course, you know, you have your measure of skepticism with everything that you do. So we came down. And luckily, BlaXit was able to make arrangements for us to be able to get a place to stay and have someone pick us up at the airport, because naturally there's a lot of apprehension when you're going to some place that you've never been before and you don't know anybody and you're wondering, Lord, am I taking my life in my own hands here? And but thank God for BlaXit, and they made arrangements and we came down and we had such a wonderful stay. Everything was arranged. We got in. And we felt so relaxed and at home from the very first moment we reached, you know. And next day, of course, Adrian came by, picked us up, and the tour started. And we were just having a blast of a time.
So I'm going to pick up on a couple of the things that you said a little earlier. You said that obviously you were online and you saw Nyancho Kajabi, yours truly, and BlaXit, and that you were watching. And this actually, you know, was one of the inspiring factors that encouraged you to come back home. So firstly, I'm really glad that someone's watching. And secondly, I'm really glad that, you know, you actually decided to act on it. You didn't just watch, but you acted on it. And that has been phenomenal. And I'm really glad that you did that. Now you've been here, what are your thoughts moving forward about what you'd like to achieve? And what impact did your visit have on you?
That's a big question.
Well, before he answers that question, which I'll give him a minute to kind of gather his thoughts around that, one of the things I will say is that one of the things that we knew as we were watching a lot of the people who were talking about making a transition like this, or checking out the Gambia for different reasons, I will say this much. He would have me to watch the videos in the nighttime, and it became like our nighttime thing to do. But why I think we chose you or settled with you from all the other people that we saw, and I said to him, this is the couple that I want us to, of everything that we watched and for all the material and all the content that was being put out about coming to the Gambia, I felt connected to you somehow. And I told my husband, I was like, this is the couple that I think we want to check out what they're doing and really kind of seek out a little bit more what's happening with them. And so of all the things that we watched, I mean, not to discredit anybody else, all the information was, you know, relevant, but I felt a connection to you and your authenticness in terms of giving the information and kind of showing us really what is being done on the ground that attracted us. And so I gave my husband like, okay, let's kind of reach out to them kind of thing. And I felt comfortable with that.
Yeah, I too was always very passionate about things African, you know, and certainly as a Black person living in the West, you have all the experiences, and we walk through all of the pain that we experience from day to day. The fact is that over the last year and a half, We know all that have been going on here in the United States. And I have just had it up to here. Sometimes you feel tired of the marches and tired of, of, of constantly almost like getting angry, getting, as Dr. King said, sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know, and you begin to feel like, we must be able to do something different. We must be able to take a different approach. Then how long are we going to march? How long are we going to wave our fists and burn our neighborhoods down and all of that kind of stuff? At some point in time, we have to take a different approach. And one of the things about it is that I always thought that, the Back to Africa movement, which was something just very amorphous to me at the time until I got exposed to BlaXit and what they were doing. I was just so impressed when I looked on the videos and I saw the repatriation movement and what was happening in Ghana and Tanzania and Nigeria and this little country called the Gambia. And I just became really excited and I was like, wow, I need to look at this a little bit closer. It's good that we could go to to the southern part of the United States, but if you know anything about American structure and its history, the southern part of the country might be even worse than the northern part of the country in terms of being a Black person and actually living and walking our experiences here. So I was just thinking that possibly, we could consider Africa. We could consider doing something different. And when I saw what BlaXit was doing, I was like, wow, I would really like to explore this a little bit more. I would really like to see a little bit closer and get down there on the ground and see if this thing is for real. And so said, so done, so imagined, so accomplished. We came down and we were just flabbergasted by what we saw, the efforts that were being made,
yes,
the interaction with the villages,
yes,
good, the passion that was being engaged in this whole movement, the fact that Juliet literally loved what she does and she loved the continent, she loved the people there in the Gambia, and that they're passionate about making a difference.
yes.
And I just thought in myself, hey, we could be a part of this and we could bring all of our resources, economic and spiritual and otherwise, social, etc. And we could bring it to bear on assisting this move so that it could be a little bit closer to what we all are hoping for on the continent and for the rest of us all over the world. I don't know if we really addressed that question well, but for now.
Yes, you did. You addressed it entirely well, in fact. In saying that, you are what I call change makers, in that you're not just talking, you're actually doing. And so one of the things that I just wanted to talk to is something that you've been very significant in. I've literally just come out of a meeting. As you know, I do my meetings all times of night and day. And just came out of a meeting with the Nemakunku VDC and Boba as well. And as you know, Nemakunku was a disaster area, and it's somewhere that you went to. And like ourselves, you felt very passionately about, affecting that change. And I do have a couple of the members of the team who are actually sitting outside. I don't think they were quite ready to come on camera yet, but we will be having an event. So we'll be sending you the footage. And, so firstly, let me just say thank you for even coming to the village and seeing their struggles. Because as you know, Africa has its challenges, and, there are areas that we can contribute to, and we can put our efforts into the betterment of our family here, the betterment of our sisters and our brothers. And we have, in some ways, I would say, the knowledge and the ability, the know-how, and also the economical support in order to do that. And so I want to say, firstly, thank you for coming to Nemakunku. And secondly, I want you to talk to all the efforts that you've made to making a change there, because we will be doing a presentation on your behalf. And so I want all the details of the church and everybody that contributed so that I can share the great news in a presentation on your behalf on Sunday. So you know, I want you to talk to that right now and to talk about how you was able to raise funds to contribute to Nemakunku that was given to the Council of African Descendants in order to go and purchase some items. I actually had it written down in a book, but I've left the book on the kitchen table. But this is to provide 100 bags of cement to build the road. Because as you know, oh gosh, I find it so difficult to talk to, but as we know, in Nemakunku, some people unfortunately died as a result of the flooding that happened, the natural disaster that happened there last year. And we, you know, have been doing our best to try and raise money to avert that from happening again. And one of the stories that touched both of our hearts was the story of the lady who had died in childbirth because she wasn't able to get to a hospital because of the lack of access, because of the flooding. And also the 9-year-old boy who also died, and a teenager that got swept away by the water. So, you know, these stories touched our hearts. And I was actually there during this time, and I saw the flooding, the stagnant water, and I couldn't sleep for like 3 nights. I literally cried, and I just wanted to do something to help. So I was really glad that we were able to raise money to provide some bags of rice for the whole village, and to provide some petrol pumps to extract water so it doesn't happen again, and some tanks as well. But you've gone much further than this, and I just want to thank you for that. You're providing 100 bags of cement to help to build a road so that access problem doesn't happen again. Your church is providing this. So I want to thank every single donor from your church, from United Methodist Church in Long Island, for their contributions, because without them, I really don't know what this year might look like, rainy season. And I want them, each and every person that gave, I don't care if it's 1 cent, a contribution, to know that they're saving lives. They're actually changing lives and saving lives. And that is so important, in that our investment in Africa is more than just our own personal, our own personal homes. It is so much more than that. It is the contribution that we make to the communities. So you've not only just bought cement, but you've also bought a trip of sand. You've bought, I think, 12 trips of gravel. And also, I have to look at the paper to look, because there's a lot of stuff, yeah? But off the top of my head, just roughly speaking, and also, you know, a trip of stone, and also labor, plus the excavator, plus the fuel. This is what you've raised money for, and this is no easy feat, and it is not a small amount of money. It's over 100,000 lasses. I think 125, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. 125,000 lasses is going to go a long way to saving, you know, people's lives and preventing those kinds of unnecessary deaths. And also, we can look long term into, you know, excavation of canals and channels to take the water off into a reserve. But for the meantime, you know, we've matched what you've done. So we've added, you know, the labor cost in, and we've actually said that we will provide the tanks. So we're going to buy the 4 tanks to go with the 4 petrol tanks. So we're contributing to, because this is a team effort. It's a team affair. And I hope everybody else in BlaXit that also contributed towards the disaster appeal by buying raffle tickets and just sending donations. I just want you to know that we are so eternally grateful to you also for your contributions during the time of the disaster. And I'm so happy that the United Methodist Church of Long Island have decided, to come to their aid in preventing it from happening again. And we can't thank you enough. And so I just want you to talk about why you chose to help. I know that's a bit of a long question, but I can't thank you enough.
No, the question was just adequate, really. When we were there, we went on a ride along with Adrian, and Adrian said, we're going to go to the village of Nemakunku, and we're going to meet with the village council, and we're going to have a little meeting and see some of the things. And just when we were on our way there, he drove by and he showed me the dirt road where the flooding actually takes place. And having a little bit of an engineering background myself, I looked at it and I was like, why is there flooding here? First thing is a dirt road, at least the water should be soaking into the soil. And then of course there's a drain. I looked at the drain that ran along a distance away, and I saw that the drain was a little bit clogged with debris and all of that stuff. And then I realized that what happened is that there is apparently nobody really maintaining all of the drainage systems and making sure that the natural water courses are available so that water can easily run off into the tributaries and into the ocean, etc., etc. And in my mind, I was like, this is not a problem that is almost natural. It is almost a man-made problem. And it's because of the fact that there was not enough resources available for the people to be able to do the maintenance that they needed and the clearance of the waterways that they needed. And there was not enough physical planning in place to ensure that nobody is building and blocking up natural water courses, etc., etc. So water is backing up into villages and it's having such an adverse effect. And then we went to the meeting and we sat down in a beautiful circle. I felt so at home, sitting down with the entire village council, and I didn't even feel like a foreigner. They made us feel so welcome, and they talked quite explicitly and expressly about the troubles that they were having, and they were looking and seeking for solutions as to how they could address these things before they have to face another year of the difficulty that they have been facing for the years before. I sat there and I thought, I'm willing to help in whatever way I can. But ultimately, I was surprised to realize that all of the things that they were talking about could just be handled with like around 100,000 Dalasi. And after the meeting, I asked Adrian, so how much is this going to cost? And he said, we did a rough estimate. It's going to cost about 100,000 Dalasi. At the time, I wasn't used to the exchange rate or anything. So when I heard 100,000 Dalasi, to me it sounded like 100,000 US dollars. And I was like, oh my God, I wonder what we can do to make a contribution towards that. But then when I backed up a little bit and me and my wife was talking, and we realized that this, at the exchange rate, this is just probably like about 2,000 US dollars.
Wow.
Oh my God, it irked me, it pained me. And it was like, no, this couldn't be for real. That people were actually losing their lives because of 2,000 US dollars.
Wow.
And then when I heard the story about the woman that died because they couldn't get a vehicle in or out of the village because the roads were flooded with up to how many feet of water. And then I heard about children being washed away and drowned and another lady that was bitten by a snake because she had to go out and try to sell her products in order to feed her kids. Oh my God, no one could sit down and be comfortable to know that sometimes I take my kids to McDonald's and spend $80. you know, and people are dying because of $2,000. You know, both my wife and I, we couldn't hold back the tears. And there was no way that we could sit down and comfortably lock up our bowels of compassion and not step forward and say, we need to do something to reverse this and to change this and to make sure that these things are not happening, you know, while we live and while we populate this planet. To know that our brothers and sisters on the continent are going through such adversity for something as simple as fixing a roadway, raising the level of a street so that a car could come into a town and people could be able to walk out of the town to go to work. We couldn't live with that. So we didn't want to commit ourselves there, but we said in ourselves that when we go back, we would try to do all that we can to help, even if at our own expense we wouldn't have to do this. Well, we came back to the United States on a Thursday, and we normally would have a prayer meeting online every, you know, 3 times a week, 6 a.m. So Friday morning, we were on that prayer line, and everybody was so glad that we were back and prayed on behalf of the people of Nemakunku. And the fact that we're about to approach another rainy season, another time of adversity for them. And we shared this with our prayer group, and we prayed about it. And forgive me if I get a little choked up here, because nobody should have to live with such problems when it's so easy to solve these problems. And it's so easy to solve these problems. And when we know so many people that are going to be willing to make a contribution to change it. And would you believe that by the time we got off that prayer session that morning, all the people started saying, well, we shouldn't just pray. You know, prayer we know availeth much, but we want to do a little bit more. And they said, one lady said, I'm going to give $500. Another lady said, I'm going to give 300. Another one said, I'm going to come by the church. I will drop off a check later. And the pledging just started. And then our finance chairperson, who is on the prayer line with us also, she said, we shouldn't just do this in this small prayer group. We should open this up to the church. So, of course, we went to our missions department, and we, you know, reached out to our finance committee and told them what was going on. And they said, well, let us see the paperwork. Is code a bona fide charity? How do we know the money that we would send, it would be dealt with properly? And I said, you know, I have met with these people, and I have a good confidence in my heart. These people are doing right by the people of Africa and the people of the Gambia and the people of Nemakunku and Basura and all of the other towns that you have impacted. And they said, okay, let's see the paperwork and let's start raising these funds. And some of them insisted that I preach a whole sermon on Sunday showing what we experienced. And this we did. And would you believe that doing that, the pledges started coming in, and people were giving out of their own poverty, out of their own hardships. They wanted to make a difference. And some people even approached us and said, we want to make this a permanent line so that we could call this the Gambia Project, and we could send funds as often as we can and as fast as we can raise it to try to alleviating some of these problems, these small problems that we could address. Why don't we just do it?
Tani, I can see that Elon's emotional, and so are you. And I know exactly how you feel, because I felt the same. Like I said, I cried the living tears, and you know, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for 3 nights. I was so disturbed by what I saw. And so I just wanted to do my best to help. And I'm glad that we established Council of African Descendants, because this is exactly what Council of African Descendants is here for. And that is for the benefit of all of us, and especially those in need. And
I was going to say something, Juliet. One of the things that I can say is that I would like to say, I guess, to people is that people should really keep an open mind when they make the trip and travel to the Gambia. The fact that Adrian took us, first of all, that we didn't come with a pack agenda as far as all of the things that we wanted to do. Like, you know, everyone's coming to Africa with, I guess, you know, an itinerary and so much of what they think that they're going, you know, to do or to explore or to experience. But we were just so open to, you know, to BlaXit and to what Adrian would have had us to explore that day. So us going to the village was not a scheduled visit for us. It was just us being flexible and being open to him saying, hey guys, you know, are you willing to ride along? I'm going over there. I have to meet with some folks. And the fact that we were open to that and we were able to go with him, that of course, all of this now, this effort and this initiative is now coming out of that venture. So I guess my advice at this point, or what I would say is that, you know, for other folks that are seeing this and having the idea and the mindset that you would want to go to the Gambia for different initiatives, for so many different reasons, go with an open mind and don't go with a pack agenda and an itinerary that, you know, all of what you think you want to get done. But we went open. It was supposed to be an anniversary trip for us, but it became a vacation. It became a mission trip. It became a, you know, opportunity trip. So much came out of that trip for us because we came open to receive.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. I mean, we even had a birthday celebration while
Birthday. I spent Mother's Day in Kunta Island, and that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So, we don't have much time left. So, I just want to talk about what your future plans are and some of the highlights of your trip, and you know, some of the things that you've got to look forward to on your return.
So two of the things that are very much so, I'll let my husband talk so much more about the way that we saw ourselves being able to help and to invest in Africa and to bring our dollars somehow to make a difference in the Gambia, on the continent, that we feel so proud about, that now we identify so much with Africa being home. One of the things that was a highlight for us, and it's one of the things that we've come back and told folks about, is how welcome we felt when we came to the Gambia, how everyone just kind of said to us from the minute we landed, welcome home. And I think you had mentioned this once before, that we hadn't gone anywhere before where anyone told us or said to us, welcome home. I've been back to Jamaica a couple of times, and I guess I've spoken to folks, and yes, Jamaica is home for me, but you never hear it quite in that way. And it never really meant so much to say, come home, and Africa being our home like that. Because we know we all have these different, we put ourselves in these different categories and different, barriers in terms of who we are. And so coming home to Africa felt like home to us. And that was something that we both took back with us and shared, and wanting other people to have that same experience. But that was a huge highlight for us that impacted us tremendously. That makes us know that we have to return, because we would be always coming home. But in terms of opportunity and investments and all of that, I'll let my husband speak to that, because that blew our minds.
Yeah, in looking at some of the videos that I looked at, some of the readings I've done, one of the things that really stuck out at me is the fact that you all keep saying, come and help to build this economy, come and help to make a difference here, bring resources, bring education, bring finance, bring business ideas, help the people that are there to take their raw materials, their raw products, and make it into byproducts, things that people would consume in the West and other places, come and help to make a difference. And that was one of the things that I felt so open to. And, one of the videos I looked at is Akon and all of the investments that he made in Senegal, which almost completely surrounds the Gambia. And what happened with him and his investments, and the fact that he's now the Con Edison, if I could call it that. You probably wouldn't know what Con Edison is, or LIPA. They are the energy companies in New York metropolitan area. Akon is now the equivalent of those in 14 different African countries. And Akon said, come, bring businesses, and come, diasporal Africans, come and help us. And he said, I guarantee you that in 5 years, you will be a Fortune 500 company. And I mean, when I hear things like that, I'm excited. Because I think that God wants us to be blessed. I think that God wants to bless our efforts. I think that when we put our hands to something, God wants to make it into something that is going to benefit all of his people and that could really make a difference here on this earth. In Africa, we are not God's stepchildren.
My God.
Right? And if God can do it for Israel, and God could do it for Taiwan and South Korea and Singapore and China and all of those other, God could do it for the Gambia, and he could do it for Senegal and Guinea-Bissau and Ghana. God could really make a difference for us. So I'm thinking that God could indeed make a difference in Africa. And if we would just but put our faith forward and just take that step out in faith, that God is going to reward our efforts. So we decided, you know what? We are going to step out there and we are going to take some of our personal resources and we are going to invest in the Gambia. You know, we are going to bring our resources to bear and put it in the economy there and see how we can do things like create employment for our brothers and sisters back on the continent. See how we can, you know, stimulate the economy with what little that we had to offer and to somehow make a difference in the lives of people there. So you all provided all of the great opportunities. You had everything in place that we were just able to come down there. And within 2 days, we had a business set up and we had the equivalent of our EIN number. I forgot what you call it. Our employees identification number. And then we had our bank accounts that was set up and we were ready to go. And before you know it, we were investing in some of the lands that were available so that we could start doing some construction and that we could put people there to work. And you all facilitated that. And I mean, if it was the United States, I can go that fast. And the fact that BlaXit had most of these things set up and ready for us to go, you know, I would encourage people that are looking at these videos, don't take it lightly. Because there's a lot that we are responsible for, and to whom much is given, much is required. And us here in the West, we have a lot, right? I mean, I know some of us are struggling. Some people really don't have as much disposable income, but you would be amazed to see how much of a difference you could make with the little that you have. And if the people in other parts of the world can make sacrifices and build those countries, we could do the same to help Africa and to help our brothers and sisters on the continent to become self-sufficient. And not just that, but to be the bread basket of the world, because everything is there. If only we can help them to develop it and to make it into something that is useful and productive for the rest of the world. You know, Tani's tapping me, is saying, okay, that's enough, that's enough.
We forget that he's a pastor and that, you know, he's a preacher, that he will preach us today. So you felt his heart, our heart, you know who we are. BlaXit has totally been awesome to facilitate this for us. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, the entire E2, the entire BlaXit team that is there, and just how much they have just facilitated us. Knowing and coming into the Gambia, having the experience that we've had, and now coming back and sharing that with our friends here in New York.
Well, it was our pleasure, and I'm just simply glad that you came with the right attitude, because when you come with the right attitude, everything is possible, and anything is possible.
Right attitude, absolutely.
You know, as they say, knock on the door will be opened onto you. So, you know, it's whether you want to walk through that door. You chose to come, you chose to walk through that door. And so the possibilities that would never have maybe been available to you became available to you. Situations that will enrich and empower you became available to you because you opened yourself up to those possibilities, and because you came with love in your heart. You came as genuine people with an authentic attitude, an authentic offering. It's reciprocated. And you know, your blessings and all your rewards will manifest. And I as a personal pledge to you both here live on camera to say that I will make sure that, you know, everything that you want will be put into place in a seamless and professional way. And I will keep you completely briefed and be totally accountable and totally transparent, because I think trust is important and it's something that we lack in our community. And so, you know, I want to thank you because you have seen evidence of the real truth, and you've seen evidence how when you do put your faith in the right place, you get the results. And so, you know, everything that you've said today is just a sentiment to you both as the kind of people that you are. And so I cannot leave this interview without absolutely, you know, saying that, you know, you are two very wonderful, two very special people. And it was a privilege to have met you both. And you are a true example of what it is to really be a ministry of love and humanity. And your humanitarian efforts, yeah, will certainly, you know, never ever be forgotten. And you'll always be recognized for what you have done. And just for coming home to your family, you will benefit all of the true rewards. Yeah. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Gambia, on behalf of Gambians, and, you know, on behalf of your ancestors who are smiling on you for making that return journey. So, you know, I'm going to end now because I feel quite emotional, but I want you to know that you're in our hearts. Yeah, you're in our prayers and our thoughts. And we're going to continue this journey because I want people to follow your sterling example and to follow and show that it's possible. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much about your company. I'm going to leave that to the next episode. And then we're going to talk and we're going to talk business development and the huge strides that you've made in such a short space of time, record-breaking space of time. But today I just wanted to talk to, you know, the humanitarian efforts that you've made here in Africa to save people's lives, and to let you know that all the lives that you have saved will never, ever, ever be forgotten. And we are grateful for your support, grateful to your help, and grateful to all of the parishioners, and grateful to everybody that was in, you know, that prayer meeting, grateful to everybody that goes to your church, grateful to you as individuals, as you as First Lady of the church and you as pastor of the church, for just coming, thinking, sharing and involving yourself, not only in becoming a solution to a problem, but in the long-term investment in the Gambia. So I want to thank you, because without you, it would not have been possible. So yeah, I'm just going to say goodbye and say,
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and Adrian.
We're going to be following your progress. So we'll be catching on a monthly update, and we'll be definitely looking into DS Limited later.
Yes.
Everybody on a cliffhanger about what DS is. So we'll catch up, and thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, Juliet. Yeah, and give my love to all of the family.
We will.
Thank you.
You as well. Thank
will.
You so much for having us.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Goodbye. One nation, one Africa. Thank you, BlaXit family. Please keep watching. Remember, follow your dreams.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.